Hi everyone, welcome to my Blu-ray slash DVD update number 4. So here we are, going over the films that I got in November slash December, and yeah, I didn't pick up any DVDs, so it's just Blu-rays, and yes, of course, hope you all had a great Christmas, but yeah, this is Boxing Day night, and I thought I'd have a bit of time to just film this, probably be uploaded, I'm guessing it'll be uploaded the 28th slash 29th, this week. And yes, basically, most of these I got in December, of course, as you would guess. But yes, here we are, just going through some of the ones. A couple of them, I believe, I've already, these ones here actually I've already reviewed and shown. But of course, here we are, starting off with Jackie Brown, Tarantino, of course. Now, this is one that I kind of I hadn't seen until this year, beginning of this year, and it was, I think I just been putting it off and putting it off, been meaning to see it. I thought, you know what, I didn't want to buy the Blu-ray at the time, and I just watched it. I think it was on Netflix, and yeah, absolutely loved it, of course. And I reviewed this with a Blu-ray, watched it on Blu-ray again, and it was actually slightly better than I remembered it being. So yeah, it is a masterpiece for me. This one, many people say, it's one of his very best. I don't quite agree with that. I do think really it's his worst masterpiece for me, but it is a masterpiece. No doubt, it isn't as good for me as Reservoir, Pulp Fiction, and as you've seen, if you've watched my Tarantino reviews, really any of the other ones. But it is a stunning film that I'd highly recommend, and it was really amazing on Blu-ray, of course, as the Tarantinos usually are. So yeah, Jackie Brown, amazing to have this in my collection finally. The only, of course, I think the only film I don't have on Blu-ray now, Tarantino in my collection has to be Death Proof, because I have that on DVD, yes. So Jackie Brown, great film. Two Shyamalans here that I didn't have until now, and it was only because of the series, the kind of Shyamalan series that I've been doing, that I had to kind of acquire these. And I thought, you know what, his visuals are always, great, I suppose. So had to check them out on Blu-ray. And first being Lady in the Water, I did like this film. It was quite underrated. I was expecting a really, really awful film, possibly, and it weren't for me. I think it has some things that really did not work, and there was tonal issues. Throughout the first sort of 30 minutes, especially, it became more consistent. It did have some blandness, as well as the film went on. It was a very up and down film, mostly, but it was a human film. It was quite touching. It was good visuals, I suppose, and yeah, I love the score. I did like some of the interactions, and it was quite human, but an average film, just certainly not one of the worst of all time. So yeah, I like this film. I would definitely not recommend it, because it seems like everyone hates this film, and you probably won't like it, but I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was worthy of being called one of the worst films ever made. So yes, Lady in the Water. And next up, of course, this is the Shyamalan that I do really like, but it is bad, and that is The Happening. Of course, I've reviewed this, and would highly recommend this one. Certainly, I think for all the worst ways, this film is very enjoyable. It's a bizarre film, and it doesn't, it's, in terms of filmmaking, acting, script, all this kind of stuff, it does fail for me, but it's actually well shot. It has a nice flow, and because of how bad some of the stuff is in it, and because of this unique charm, and combined with that with the charm that he brings to it, Shyamalan, on this occasion, very, very particular kind of feel that I get for this. And because of that, and because it's a B film, disaster film kind of thing, with bizarre performances and moments that just, scene after scene of just hilarious stuff, I do like the film, would recommend it, and I actually am proud to have it in my collection, because it's kind of like The Room, as I've said, it is bad, it's not a good film, but it is very, very enjoyable. And yes, The Happening. Now here were the ones that I got, of course, for Christmas. Of course, more to come, in the next week or so. But of course, if it gets to January and I get them then, I'll be doing them, at the end of January or February, in the next update video. So here we are. Ed Wood, one of the only other Burtons that I don't, have access to, and I got it on Blu-ray, of course. This film, we're really looking forward to seeing. I think most people, say this is a great film, and it's a Tim Burton film that I've never seen, at all. Not even a scene or a clip of. It just really can't wait to check this one out. Not much more to say there. Here we have Double Indemnity, a Billy Wilder film that is again very acclaimed. This is probably one of the most acclaimed Wilder films, and I have seen The Apartment, which I think I'm actually going to be rewatching New Year's Eve. Hopefully, I'll be doing that and reviewing that. And yeah, basically, The Apartment is one of my favourite films of all time. Ace in a Hole I watched, and I thought it was a great film. Not quite a masterpiece, but I did love the film. And Billy Wilder, I think, is going to become one of my favourite directors. And this is the one that really has to be seen. I've heard, and of course, master of cinema. So yes, looking forward to that. Next up is another John Ford film, of course, The Quiet Man. I thought I was considering whether to buy this or not, because it is on loads of devices. But John Ford, the visuals in his films, always stunning. So I had to I thought, and it was quite cheap. Again, master of cinema. So yeah, I really want to see this pretty soon. I have seen about 20 minutes of the film. But I'm kind of one of those people that really do not like having a film on in the background at all. And if I see a film, especially like this, that's claimed it's from John Ford and it's on in the background, I just think I switch off, and if someone's talking to me, or whatever, and I just won't watch it, and I'll say I have to see it all the way through from start to finish. Not much to elaborate on there. That's just how I do things. The Quiet Man, I really want to see. Of course, Blu-ray should be amazing. I've not heard this is meant to be one of the best John Ford films too often, but it is acclaimed, and it's got John Wayne, of course, who is amazing, of course. So yes, The Quiet Man. Oh yes, of course. Yes, so another John Ford film, My Darling Clementine, Henry Fonda. So yeah, I really can't wait to see this one. Now this is one of the most acclaimed films. Some say this is one of the best, John Ford films. And yes, I just really cannot wait to see this. Henry Fonda is from what I've seen, one of the best actors of all time. The Grapes of Wrath, Once Upon a West. There's so many films, as well that I haven't seen with him in it. And basically, yes, it's another John Ford film that I will be reviewing. I cannot wait to see this one. I love westerns. I love Henry Fonda, and I love John Ford. So yes, cannot wait to see this. Another classic, Blu-ray here. And these next two, and the last two, probably my most, these are the ones that I have seen as well, that I do adore, and they're on my favourite films list, and both of these editions are pretty amazing, I must say. First up is The Tree of Life, Criterion edition. Now, this is, of course, it includes the extended cut that Malick, of course, has kind of brought to the table. He's got a kind of interesting look on it that you can kind of continually, maybe at another point he might release another version. He kind of says it doesn't have to be just a set film, or any film really. So yeah, it's interesting. He might release another cut at some point. But for now, this is the extended version that's on this. It comes with the theatrical as well. Cannot wait to see this. Also a bit nervous about this, because I will be reviewing it separately, and then I'll probably rewatch the original version and review that again, because I think actually it's grown on me even more, and it was already a masterpiece for me. But yes, we'll just have to see about that ending. See if I still think it's flawed, or if it's if it's flawed enough for me to dock a mark off. It was just the ending really. Last time that I was kind of a bit, still a bit unsure of whether it worked quite in tone with the rest of the film. And yes, the word pretentious, but it's grown on me even more. So hopefully, it doesn't take a mark off. But yes, this film, be watching both versions and reviewing them. And The Tree of Life, for me, is one of the most meaningful films I've ever seen. And yes, it's only my third favourite Malick film, but it is a masterpiece. It's absolutely stunning. Not like anything I've ever seen before. And it is actually probably closest to, in terms of what he's doing with the kind of, maybe the tone of it a little bit, and the way that kind of the feel of the film is maybe a bit closer to Days of Heaven than really any of his other work. which is my favourite Malick film. One of the best films ever made. Very close to being top 10 or even top 5 greatest films ever made. But this film is stunning. Very, very divisive. I would say I would always recommend this film. Would I say that everyone will enjoy it? Definitely not, because a lot of people, of course, hate the film, and I think it is very, very different. The word pretentious can be subjective, so I don't really find the overall film pretentious, but I did actually the first time around a little bit more, and many people do, so I would recommend it. But it is a film that I can't say everyone will enjoy. But if you do, then that's great. And yeah, basically, I can't wait to rewatch this. And yes, The Tree of Life. Now the next up is by far the best. The best kind of Blu-ray I've got picked up here. This film is in my top 50 of all time, and I'm actually going to be rewatching it tonight. And that is 2001: A Space Odyssey in 4K. Now, this film, can't really describe this film unless I review it. Yes, basically, the edition, of course, 4K. I believe actually it's getting somewhere in the world getting shown in 8K now. But yes, this film is just one of the best films ever made. I absolutely am obsessed with it. I've seen it. Oh, this will be my 6th viewing. In the last 4 or 5 years. First saw it in 2014, so it's pretty late to seeing that. And yes, it absolutely blew my mind. And then of course, it was around the time when I watched A Clockwork Orange, and all these sort of Kubrick films that I hadn't seen, Barry Lyndon. So yeah, very, very special film for me. And I think visually it's easily in the top 10 films ever made. So to have a 4K and to have really, from what I hear, a thought out 4K. They really have gone for. It was envisioned. I think this film has to be seen in the best quality whenever it's in the best quality. And this film, we'll be watching it, reviewing it, and of course, just cannot wait for this. As I say, for me, one of the best films ever made. Definitely, it's now one of the best films I own in my collection. On 4K, I have quite a few 4Ks now. But yes, this film is absolutely amazing. It's perfect, and I can't wait to review it, to talk about it more. And yes, definitely the best for me, the best film that I picked up, over these last couple of months. And yes, highly recommend this film. And this set, it comes with some other stuff, art cards in there as well. And yeah, I think it comes with something else as well, a little booklet. So yes, a great addition to one of the best films I've made. So yes, I believe that is it. So of course, anything that comes even after this video, or in January, that'll be done at the end of January / end of February if I don't get enough to show it in within the one. But yes, it'll be maybe a combined January February. But it could be just in the January one. So yes, thanks for watching. Of course, hope you had a great Christmas. And this is Boxing Day now, so this is probably going to be uploaded, as I say, the 28th or the 29th. So of course, got more reviews to come, including The Tree of Life when I see it. 2001, It's a Wonderful Life, as I rewatched that, of course, Christmas Eve. And yeah, there's just a couple more. E.T. will be reviewed soon, Boogie Nights. So yes, can't wait to do that. And of course, thanks for watching my Blu-ray update.